So this evening I would like to show how I do clean some of the watches that I come to possess. Now, I am by far an expert in this regard, but I would like to share this, and perhaps I could receive tips from others, or this may be helpful to some. However, my cleaning techniques are to be used with caution. I am not a cleaning expert. However, for this endeavor, we do require the following. Now, I have basically a plate for holding, stabilizing the object that we will clean, and we shall rest it on a sponge. And this is very convenient for pocket watches, so it is less likely to slide. Now, we also have paper towels. Now, this is a very basic kitchen cleaner. Now, some may have problems with using such a so-called abrasive material. This is so-called sieve. This is a little, it does fight the grease rather well, and I have not found that it has damaged any of the watches that I've cleaned with it, so I have continued with this. It does seem to work relatively quickly and efficiently. I also have a little water when needed to remove leftover cleaner, and various different other useful items such as Q-tips or cotton swabs. Now, these toothpicks are quite useful when an object has accumulated some form of patina, and especially this thick black material, this comes off rather easy, and this is quite good for edging, cleaning the edges. Now, I also have cotton pads, and one should have the proper magnifying equipment in case we need to look very closely. But I also have this toothbrush, which I use for the scrubbing instrument, and there are, for final finishing procedures, a very basic silver cleaning towel. This is very useful to get or to use after the bulk of the patina or accumulate has been removed. Now, I would like to start with this. This is a silver ring, and it has acquired grease, some basically dirt, and this is a very good example to start with. So what I do is just to dab this and give it the rub, and we can support it on the sponge to hold it. Now, I only have one glove here. There would be some that would like to use two. However, I think that for purposes of practicality, I will not use a second glove, as I like to have a little bit more freedom with the hand, and some gloves can be restrictive. But as you can see, and I'm going to wet this just a little bit, this is returning the luster to this silver surface. This is quite fast, really. And can prop this like so. We will be replacing the water. So take a paper towel and remove the excess. And in this case, we can see that it has done very well, that the sort of brownish, darkish, blackish material in the center that was obfuscating this family coat of arms is now removed. And this is basically the technique We will be using this on silver pocket watch cases only. Gold should be treated a little bit differently, in my opinion, and with much more care. And I generally tend not to clean gold with these so-called abrasives. But this is good for old, severely abused silver pocket watches, which need to obtain their old luster. So, now of course, we would also take more water and try to get as much of this off. And then this is our final product, which I think you'll agree is much better than the original. So now that was our test item. Let us proceed with a pocket watch. Okay, so returning now to the first watch, and a few notes I would like to mention that when one is cleaning pocket watches or various metal items, objects, one must be somewhat considerate of the material of which or from which this object has been fabricated. Now, in watchmaking, we're generally dealing with gold or silver, and more modern watches begin to use, of course, various different grades and types of steel and gunmetal and this type of thing. Now, there's also bronze objects, for example, for gauges such as those made by Montaigne and Frères, Paris and Rambouillet. Now, these were bronze instruments. Now, bronze is a material which is very notorious for basically absorbing its own thick patina or patina, however you like to pronounce this. But anyways, this can be very difficult to clean, and each of these metals should be treated on a very separate or very special its own basis when cleaning. For example, now with bronze, there are various also approaches. Some people like to use vinegar and flour mixture into a paste, basically, to cover these items. Others use tomato paste and such. We will not be discussing bronze in this video, and also we will not be discussing gold material cleaning. However, for silver cleaning, this is the approach that I'm using. And now, let me say a little bit about the watch that we're cleaning. Now, this is a Hunter case, Swiss, mid-19th century. This pocket watch dates from approximately the mid-1860s to the early 1870s. Now, this is a silver pocket watch fabricated by Frederic Montandon, clerk, and he was based out of Neuchâtel City in Switzerland. And on this watch, this is very interesting in that we have a signing which is not very frequent with him. Instead of F. Montandon Locle, it's F-R-I-C, Frederic Montandon Locle. And this is one of the indications that led to the revelation of precisely who was behind the signing F. Montandon. It is Frederic. And these all tend to have the same general characteristics, stylistics, and very, very close serial numberization. So we know by their serial numbers, the serialization of these pieces, that they were fabricated for the same établisseur. So let us place this object, and we shall commence. Now, for today's video, I will not be cleaning the inside of the case. We will concentrate on the task only for the outside, we can take more time to clean the inside. Now this is a almost a laminated surface. There were techniques for this type of metalwork on the inside of cases, and sadly these processes, this plaqué, does not seem to favor the passage of time, and grease can be very detrimental. Now, this is in rather good condition, actually, so this needs relatively little work. Even the inside is relatively decent and free of corroded areas. So we shall close. Now this is the image of before cleaning. Try to dance this on the light so that you get the best possible look. Now this is almost a very dark, nearly blackish effect that this patina or patina has acquired over the surface of the silver over the 160 years, is it rather? But let us begin. Now I have changed the water, and I have now this is tepid water, however this is boiled water, and I have two, and one can be for cleaning the brush. I did forget to mention that this is somewhat desirable. One can always also clean the brush a bit to remove excess, but we will take our cleaner and generously apply and scrub. Now it is incumbent that we attempt to avoid any contamination on the inside when we're cleaning the outside, the outer case. This is something that, if it occurs, of course one should take immediate action to remove any leakage. These edges can be very tricky, and oftentimes depending upon the condition of the watch, and I am doing all sides at once, not just one side at a time. In this case, this is not a super bad state of affairs. This is a relatively mild patina. So remove some of this cleaner. Bring the water. In cases where we have a buildup of black, thick material, now we will generally work this over first with the cotton swabs around the edges, and in certain cases with the toothpicks, depending upon where we need to we need egress. So you can already tell that there is a luster revealing itself. That I would be very happy to receive any questions or comments based on this video, anything that you're curious about, or if you may have questions or any comments or criticisms, feel free to share them. It's all about learning, but this general low-tech approach has served me, and as I mentioned, these pieces have not suffered as a result of this style of cleaning. Okay, so I'd like to at first remove some of this excess so that we can see what we have here. So always have to be careful not to use too much cleaner. I think this was about just right for this object. And of course, this is an approach that is most suitable for a hobbyist. Obviously, if you're interested in a so-called proper restoration or a full cleaning from inside to out, this is a situation where you probably want to take this to a professional who has the equipment to do such, including the ultrasound and various other appurtenances for such exercise. But for this low flying approach, I think this is quite adequate. Now I will clean this brush and apply some of the water. So we want to remove as much of this gritty material as possible. Now it will reappear, but we continue to wipe it off. Have to make sure not to put too much water on the watch. This is always a risky business, but we try to immediately dry it. Make sure that the sandy material is removed or has been dealt with properly. Now, this is really illustrious. The shine of this silver is really nice. Now, this will be worked over many times with basically the cotton pads and eventually then the silver cloth. But we have a day and night result here, which is very exciting. This case is in excellent shape. There is a few small dents, you have that, but we can now see quite nicely this floral motif. I can even try to, this is a bit filthy, this lens, but if you'll pardon, just so that you can see. I hope that this comes through, but especially these wonderful flowers. This is really incredible. This would have been done either by a guillocheur or perhaps even on a special machine, but wonderful. So let us move to the more sophisticated piece. And this is a fully functional Albert Montandon Geneva pocket watch. Now, this pocket watch dates from approximately the same time. Now, this signing of Albert Montandon Geneva, we do know that from an article in the, I believe it was the Gazette de Genève from 1869, that a company which was called Veuve John Magnan et Guilladin, and this is the widow John Magnan et Guilladin, owned the rights to this name among many others. And indeed, this it was a very interesting character, this John Magnan. We find him originally from Geneva, I believe. Now, he had businesses in Geneva and Locle, but he himself went to New York and was in New York from the 1820s. We find him there up until his death in 1845. And this Veuve widow, his widow, took control of the business. However, they had been working for a long time with a James Courvoisier, not the same Courvoisier as the cognac, however, the name is the same. Now, James Courvoisier, who I believe was born in 1812, had been working with them, and he eventually took over the business. So around this time, this would have been James Courvoisier. And as a matter of fact, it's quite interesting in that he appears to have had the rights to these watches signed Albert Montand in Geneva, Henry Hoffman au Locle, and also later, I believe, à Genève. And there was also a James Courvoisier, I believe, Geneva also. So he had 3 or 4 of these names, and these were almost, it appears to be product types. At some point, somehow they acquired these names. But obviously, after James Courvoisier came on board and took over effectively, then we have these James Courvoisier watches. Now, his wife, he married a woman whose mother was a Heloise Montandon. So, and this was a Montandon du Bratzel. This is a very illustrious watchmaking family. And it's very possible that somehow through the mother-in-law, this Albert Montandon connection arose, but this is not exactly clear, but it's a quite fascinating link. So there is, and this will not be visible, however, we do find a stamp argent with the chevron. And this is a Neuchâtel control stamp, which I believe this went out of use around 1866. And I certainly would date this watch to between the mid-1860s to perhaps the early 1870s. Once again, the same dating as Frédéric Montandon, who signed Locle but was in Neuchâtel. So this is quite fascinating. But the movement of this piece, and this piece keeps very good time, by the way, especially for its age. But the movement for this piece is a Jules Jurgensen movement. Now, I will provide pictures of the movement later. And we can see a very high quality of this craftsmanship. There, once again, the inside is quite immaculate. We can easily see the serial number. And this is the condition of this watch. It's a key wind, key set piece. And we shall close it. So this is the tarnish that is on this piece. Now this is a rather large gentleman's pocket watch. We'll use the same procedure again. And to be remembered, I'm using this only on silver. I will, of course, provide close-ups of these items before and after, and perhaps some additional information that may be of interest. But this is something that needs to be done, in my opinion. Leaving this old glory to sort of tarnish and lack luster is almost a bit of a faux pas in my book. And one must be always careful and consult. The magic phrase is consult, consult, consult before you attempt anything if you're not sure or if you've never done that before. However, I think for the purposes, my own modest purposes, that this is ample treatment. The condition of this watch, it should be stated, is rather extraordinary. I think this is a watch that one could actually use on a daily basis. And that was one of the reasons that I acquired this, that the bulk of my collection is, I would like to slate this for eventually to create a museum for these horological treasures by the Montandon dynasty of watchmakers. I would like to create such a museum, but at some point I should make a demonstration video of my complete collection. This is something that I have thought about, but there are a lot of objects to present, and this would be a very big undertaking, of course. it would be very interesting also in your comments to know where you're viewing my videos from, and any feedback is appreciated. I've been very fortunate in getting very constructive feedback from people, and that's been quite a blessing and stimulus for creating interesting videos. Now, the one of the main reasons that I founded this channel was to share information, lost history on this incredible watchmaking family who originated well during the times of the Albigensian Crusade. The Pope led a crusade against these people. They're, of course, according to the mythology of the Montandon family, they were heretics, and they escaped the south of France, perhaps in the Provence area, went up the followed the river north to the area of Burgundy and the so-called Franche-Comté nowadays in France, and there is a town which is in this area close to Saint-Hippolyte, which is a small village of approximately 150 people, maybe a little more, a little less, and the name of the village is Montandon. And this is a name that we find appearing in the late 13th century, and the first Montandons who appeared, they came from this area, or perhaps even this village, and they settled in Switzerland. And this was in the 14th century already, late 14th century, and all Swiss Montandons share the same common ancestor. So all Montandons are cousins, basically. But I do feel that the contributions and the connections and the generational technology transfer which the Swiss établissage system engenders, this all needs to be shared with the wider public, as this is a brand name which is extremely valued. It's very popular. We can see items fetching handsome sums at the auction. Really fascinating, beautiful objects, and just the name alone is a factor that increases the price. But it is something that very few people understand properly. There are no books devoted to this subject. I am the only expert on this watchmaking dynasty, and I've accumulated a huge amount of information, historical, genealogical, horological, technological, which has essentially revealed a very fascinating picture. We can see the degree of some of this tarnish which is removed. Now, if we would be, and I will use a Q-tip on this, so that you can see, there will probably be some still tarnish still there, but it is interesting that we are able to see what this original item appeared to be when it was sold. We're getting much closer to its grandeur. These objects can often look very drab when viewing them when they're for sale, and it's interesting that the sellers are not interested in cleaning them themselves, because when you see an object come to life, 1860s, very beautiful technology, and working still today, it's almost a wonder why these aren't cleaned up, because there would be a higher price, of course. When one sees a beautiful object, one is willing to pay more. So we do have, let us just apply just a little bit more. These can require multiple sessions, multiple revisiting the same surface, but this will deliver the same result as the Frederic Montandon pocket watch. Remove this the easy way. Okay. So I hope that you can see, but there is a real radiant now. And of course, some of these objects will, if you really want to bring the beauty out, there's always the possibility to go to the professionals for polishing and whatnot. But once again, at a very low cost and very low level attempt, one can remove this unnecessary accumulate. If I can open this. Wanted to show you the back side. Now this is interesting in that, and this is also in relatively excellent shape. Also signed Albert Montandon, Genève, on the inside, just as the face, the dial face. So, and here is our Jules Jurgensen movement. It's rather clean. It could be cleaned totally for to remove any of the oils that are there, but this is rather immaculate as such. But once again, if this is going to be an object that one wants to use on a daily basis, one does want to have a full cleaning, including the inside. And let's see if I can. Now, this is where we would use either the toothpicks, and we just apply it like this, and we still have tarnish here because we have not cleaned the inside, but I did want to go around the lip or edge just to reveal and to show how I'm cleaning this portion. And we would be able to use, these are, we can see some of the black. But one always has to be careful when handling these objects, because dropping would be very bad. So I'm not going to fully clean this. I'm just going to demonstrate that. And these Q-tips also, we'll close this. These Q-tips are excellent for this, which is one place where the tarnish loves to reside. And indeed, this tarnish has been resident in this on this surface of this silver watch for easily over 150 years. The hinges can be an area where they like to sit and wait to be cleaned. But I think this is adequate for our appraisal of this cleaning technique. Now this is right here. See if I can open this. It's rather difficult with the hand still in this cleaner. This is the surface. Now this is dial is signed Albert Montandon, Genève, and this is just a charming piece. I really like it, and I'll definitely be revisiting this cleaning. You can see swaths of this accumulate that it's all hiding on the lip area. And if you're going to use a cleaner in these parts, one wants to use very small amounts of cleaner, and to be very careful, very ginger, and very methodical, very slow. This is not a race. Oh, that totally came clean. But so this was just a little bit of a demonstration on how I have been cleaning my silver pocket watches, and I would be very happy to know if this was of any interest to anybody, or if they have any questions or any suggestions for future videos. This is just a bit of a instructional and information sharing video. I hope it was entertaining, and I hope that I was able to help someone, and I would be happy to receive your feedback. Thank you, and I wish you a good evening. Bye-bye.